Hey, welcome back. Day 105 with Silver the Mustang. And old Silver here has had about a month off. He's not been worked, partly because of Christmas. My wife and I were gone for Christmas for about 12 days. And then when we came back here to Monument Valley, it was a popsicle. And it has been a popsicle for up until now. It hasn't been highs above maybe about low to mid 20s until now we're up in the mid 30s. So he has not been worked. When we came back from Christmas, he threw his head up in the air. I walked out into the paddock there where he was, and he threw his head up in the air and snorted and ran to the other side. He'd kind of gotten a little reverted to wildness just a little bit. and so I'm laughing because there's a puddle of water right below the camera there, and he keeps splashing my camera girl when he goes by. So I brought Silver out about 3 days ago and mostly just ground worked him. I brought him here, I round penned him for a few minutes, kind of take the fresh off, and then I'll show you what I did. I'm not going to do it as long today. Get him to look at me here. There we go. All right. Just take the fresh off, and you know, he's a pretty good boy, but any horse that's had a month off can get a little humpy and not want to go back to work and all that kind of stuff. And so mostly I ground worked him the other day and worked with him with the flag, and I got on him for just maybe 2 or 3 minutes. And the reason I did not ride him out is because there was a lot of activity going on out here with kids and sheep and dogs and people running around, and he just wasn't very comfortable, and I saw no reason to rush it. And in case you're wondering about the color, he's got that nice little orange glow. Look at this sand here. It's wet, so when he lays down on it, there we go. I'm not going to let him pull that head away from me. He needs to move his hip around and look at me. There, thank you. It's not good, but it's not bad. There, much better. Much better. Okay. So he's kind of taking on an orange color. Oh yeah, another thing that happened about 5 minutes ago, I was cleaning his hooves, and he turned around and nipped at me. And the first time he did it, I just kind of said, hey, stop that, yelled at him a little. Second time he did it, I had to get a little more forceful. I actually poked him in the ribs with the hoof pick. And so one of the things of horse training, be as gentle as possible but as firm as necessary. And all that was, he's in the pen with this paint horse over here, and he's dominating him. So that was just his way of checking out to see if he could make me move away and kind of push me around just like he's doing that other horse. And I had to tell him no, and I seriously doubt that he'll ever do it again. Okay, so you can see and I did this 3 days ago. He gets a little bit upset when he first sees this flag, then he'll kind of come around okay with it. Yeah, this is much better than it was 3 days ago. He took off and ran around the pen and kind of acted goofy for about 5 minutes. So this is just a refresher. Just remind him that he's not a wild horse anymore. And he's backing up because he doesn't like it, but he's going to be okay. There we go. There. Doesn't like it as well on this side. He's moving on his own. I'm not telling him to go anywhere. If he stops, then I'll stop. And he will here in a minute. But, you know, I can do this as long as he can do it. And he almost stopped there. You gonna stop, buddy? I don't know. There, stopped and cocked his leg. All right. Now let's see if he'll lick his lips. Nope. He's not gonna lick his lips, but he did stop. So this is just me checking him out before I get on him. And I don't know if you can see it, but his shoulder's actually quivering right there when I start to touch him with that. And it used to bother him a lot right under his chin here because that's a vulnerable area, but he's getting to where he can handle that now. This is his rough side here, isn't it, buddy? There we go. Let's just rub you with it. There you go. There you go. I had an emergency room doctor tell me one time, if it wasn't for horses and four-wheelers, we wouldn't need emergency rooms. He was exaggerating, of course, but he made his point. And you know, most people get hurt on the horse. Or maybe I shouldn't say most, but many people get hurt when they bring a horse out that hasn't been ridden in a while, and even a pretty gentle, easygoing horse. Maybe he's been up running loose all winter, and they just cinch him up real tight and climb on. And that's not a smart thing to do on any horse, especially one that has 20 rides. Okay, so I'm satisfied with that. Let's go ahead and bridle him up. This is a little trick that I do to warm up the bit before I put it in the horse's mouth. Okay, I just stick it under my armpit right there, leave it there for 2 or 3 minutes, and warm it up. I mean, how would you like a piece of cold steel shoved into your mouth on a cold day? That'd be a good way to make a horse not want to be bridled. Okay, there we go. All right, so while I'm waiting on that, let's just work on head dropping. He is dropping his head. He still doesn't like this very well. He'll do it, but it's not something he really likes. So I haven't done it, of course, in a month. There we go. Push, release, push, release, push, release. There we go. Push, release. And you may recall in the beginning we couldn't hardly work him from this left side. Remember, we were doing everything from the right because he'd pull his head away so badly from this left side. And he still does it a little, but it's about 90% of it's gone at this point. Okay, there we go. That's what I wanted, bud. That's what I wanted. As soon as I let go, he'll pull his head away like that. And all this gets better over time. Okay, so the bit's pretty warm. It's about, not gonna, if it still wasn't warm enough, it was a really cold day, I just blow on it with my breath and get it like that. Okay. All right, so. He's still not real good to bridle. I'll let you see where he is. And I really think this is not so much the bridle as it is, and that's actually better. I think it's more just him not wanting me messing with his head than it is the actual bit getting into his mouth. But he's getting better every time we do it. There we go, bud. Okay, so we'll just use this hill here, which works really well for training horses. And I'll just trot him about a 50-foot circle on this hill. Let's see how he's going to handle this today. Keep him bent to the left just a little here. I'm not asking him to lope, but if he does, it's all right. Okay, now we'll make our circle a little bit smaller. Okay, what this does, other than the obvious of just going circles, you're teaching him handle your weight going up and down the hill. It's a lot more work for the horse. Still stiff on this right side here. He's already puffing and puffing. You know, this is a wild horse, but he's been in captivity for over a year now, a little over a year, and he's been standing around that whole time. So he's gotten a little out of shape. I'm sure before he was captured, this probably would not have winded him, but it is here. That's actually to my advantage, as I mentioned earlier. Okay. When he gets tired, he listens a little better. Okay. So I'm just doing figure eights here, as you can see, changing directions. Right. Okay. Let me just lope him a little bit. Come on. And he's at the stage, I don't make a big thing about the lope. If he lopes a little good, if he doesn't, it's not a big deal. On the wrong lead there. Don't make a big thing about that at this stage either. Okay. All right, we'll come in here. And oh. Okay, so I didn't pull on him at all. If he had not stopped, I would have bent him around. I've still yet to pull on 2 reins with this horse. Just a little. I played with it just a little. But I will, before long, start trying to get him to give to it a little bit. But that's your update on Silver. He's doing pretty well. He's still dealing with this stiffness, and I expect that it'll get better, but it may never completely go away. I know it'll get better because it's getting better. And I'm going to work on it every day. So we'll give you another update in a few weeks. We'll let you know how he's doing.